is all praises to the Most High, Yahawah, who is our Father, Heavenly Father, and in the name of Hashem, the Son, Yahawashi. So, this is your brother, Obadiah Yahweh Canaan. I'd like to start off by giving salutations to all of the Akim and Yahawashi that are listening and learning with you, right? We'd like to give salutations, my admiration and utmost respect to the apostles who've been bringing this truth to the world, as seems, day in and day out, week in and week out, year in and year out, as well as decade in and decade out. And you know, bringing accuracy is important. That makes a difference, but in the course and scope of bringing accuracy, there are so many other things that also have to be applied to the process of the truth that's coming out. And we're going to go into a lot of this in terms of the scripture and the precepts we bring out today. The Most High Yahawashi put a lesson on my spirit in reference to all of what's happening recently, and quite it's just so bizarre to a degree because of the consternation that seems to be surrounding the application and the offering of the awakening in the truth that we are living in at these prophetic periods in time. Clearly, we're supposed to be pushing forward in edifying and educating those in the prophecies of what has to happen going forward now as we are. You know, one of the coin phrases the Most High gave me was TPP, Transitional Prophetic Process, which is what we're cruising in. I just recently did a lesson on time is on our side, and it explains a lot of the fact that we're dealing with prophecy as a time capsule process that's moving forward, that the Most High has implemented past what it used to be in terms of time that was associated with us in the carnal way of understanding it. Now it's on the spiritual realm and the spiritual platform that the Most High is doing personally in order to deliver this new world to his son, Yahawashi, which is what's going to happen. And you know, you think about the way that the truth is being imparted to various different individuals that are in this truth, and then those that are imparting truth, their application to deliver is at best quite interesting, if not more than that. You know, when I was coming to this truth in around 2006, and I wasn't released to do any teaching, preaching, or prophesying until about 2 years ago. And you know, you have to be prepared in order to do this. It's not something that you can just come into. The Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit has to, you know, refine you. And lately, you know, the Akim have been talking about a refining process of gold and silver. And there's been a lot of different methods of interpreting that process that's happening with the awakening. And we tend to see a lot of what I call the awakening spiritual blending of who has truth and what method they're presenting the truth that they have. And so you kind of see issues that are starting to bleed. I said in the lesson in the past, if you blend, you bleed. And this is what you don't want to do, is you don't want to end up blending truth with other religious practitioner philosophical ideologies. You don't want to do that. You want to stick to the scriptures, the truth, and you want to bring it out in the way that it's supposed to come out through Yahawashi and not get into personal issues. One of the things that I thought was very interesting and very problematic is the fact that when the awakening was offered, from what I understood, because I know it's been a while since Abba Bivens and the rest of the elders and the apostles have been bringing this out. There was like two levels that I noticed quite Now, the position that I was presented under in order to do this work was in line of being an observer in a balanced position between what's going on here with the awakening, our brothers and sisters are Akim and Akwab in the truth, the religious practitioners that are scattered in their process of understanding, and those that are somewhat knowledgeable, but at the same time, they're lacking foundational aspects that solidify the way this truth is to be brought out. Now, in saying that, I guess what I'm trying to bring forward is, if you notice, when the awakening was brought forward, there was a powerful spirit of two factors that you seem to see. One is the platform presentation of pride, the proud way that the Hebrew Israelites were bringing out the truth, and that permeates the way they bring it to the world. And the dominance of the prideful side of it seems to be very prevalent, very much the strength of how this goes. Now I can understand, from the consternation, meaning all the beat downs, all of the subjugation that we've been going through, the degradation that we've been under, that the men of the Lord who have come into the truth and being totally and completely converted has always been a very challenging situation for men who come from a very coarse way of life, a very rough, coarse way of life. So naturally, the way they're going to express this awakening is going to have high levels of pride involved in them presenting the way they feel about this truth that we're bringing out. Now, but see, the thing is that the Mashiach himself, Yahawashi, Yahawashi, Yahawashi Hamashiach, he was extremely austere in his humility. Let me say that again. He was extremely austere in his humility. That's why this lesson is going to be titled Yahawashi, humility was his power on his mission for his father Yahweh. Okay, let's understand that. Yahawashi's humility was his power on his mission for his father Yahweh. And we're going to explain that through preception. We're going to bring it out because I don't think my Akim brothers of the elect are far away from this, but it needs to be drawn out more in terms of the fact that your humility is your power. It's not your pride. The pride is not your power. It's your humility that's your power. And Yahawashi is the example we are to follow in order to show the dunamis, that power that the Most High expects us to present through his scriptures, through his word, through his children who are supposed to represent him, and especially if you are the hopeful elect or the elect. Now, clearly, lately, my brothers have been bringing out a lot of good videos and a good presentations and edification on spiritual power. Now, do I believe everyone who becomes awakened by Yahawashi Yahawashi in this time to move into the new covenant is going to get spiritual power? I don't know about that. Because I believe that the more humble you are, the easier it is to apply the application of spiritual power on you. Because Hamashiach is a perfect example. And we're going to see precepts on that. I do believe that the 144,000, whoever they will be provided with spiritual power, but it will be under a disciplinary factor. It'll be under discipline. When the Most High puts spiritual power on the 144,000, trust me, I truly believe in my spirit, and what I've been studying is that they're going to be operating under rules. There will be order. Everything must be done decently and in order. Okay, so since we know that's the precept and that's the nature of our Father, if you are awarded spiritual power as one of the 144,000, now I don't know that the 1/3 is going to get any of this power because it talks about the 144,000 operating in a military fashion for the Lord of hosts, Yahawashi, Yahawashi. Our Father is a man of war in that perspective. Not a man, but the motif of that particular process. So what I'm saying, not to digress, the 144,000 who are going to be the governing body when the kingdom starts and puts in play, they will be given rank and power, but that power will still be under a semblance of good control by Yahweh through Yahawashi. Nobody's going to just do whatever they want when they get spiritual power. You will still have to operate within the constraints of the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi, if you are also awarded the ability to get spiritual power. But I'm sure you're going to have to be a very humble portion of the elect that's going to be able to get afforded and awarded that ability. Now, in saying that, to go more into what I'm saying, the awakening has been presented in many fashions and factors as a very prideful push in terms of the presentation. You don't see much in humility as the awakening is offered by the brothers who are in the truth. And as I said, I know that there's ways that they've been influenced through growing up without the Spirit on them all the time in order to operate like that. But I'm going to tell you, if you're going to move into doing the work for Yahweh as you graduate and grow, as the apostle said, you got to grow in this, okay? You are going to have to train or get trained in being humble. You're going to have humility in order to wield power. It's no other way you're going to be able to do this because you're not going to be afforded it without that. And part of the process of getting trained on that is going to take praise, worship, and prayer. I know we talk about prayer, but you can't just keep just talking about prayer alone. You have to praise and worship. This is what they're doing in heaven. The elders that are already sitting on thrones that are around the Most High and His Son and got crowns and got spiritual bodies and they're already there, they're praising and worshiping. Where is it that we're too good that we don't do that? Why is it that this is not perpetuated and pushed by every single camp and organization that's out here in this awakening? You have got to be praising and worshiping and praying all three. The Ruach HaKodesh, right? Yahweh, Yahawashi, and the Ruach HaKodesh, right? That's the three, right? The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Just like praise, worship, and prayer. You've got to do all three. Especially when everything gets cut off and no one's in communication with it anymore, and Most High puts his puppetized demon, Esau Edom, to work to cut everything off and shut off communication. You're going to stand by yourself, just like you will be standing by yourself when you speak to Yahweh, Yahawashi in the spirit world. Okay? You are going to have to know how to function, and the fortitude of this in you is going to have to bring you forth to sustain you, which is going to mean you're going to need the spiritual praise, worship, and prayer. You're going to have the three. Because, you may be able to communicate with some of the Akim. They may be within close proximity so that you can get to them. But being able to know when they're there or when they're here or wherever they are, going to take some form of communication. And, of course, we know the Ruach HaKodesh and Holy Spirit will provide us with those things as well. So I'm just saying, the spirit of pride has been pushed seemingly more affluently in this awakening than you see the spirit of humility being pushed more affluently. And this has caused some problematic issues in reference to how we deal with each other collectively, whether you're in the truth or not in the truth, or whomever we're dealing with, including dealing with the wicked, Esau Edom. So we're going to get into some precepts, but as I said, this is a lesson that's going to talk about how Yahawashi is our example to show us how his humility was power. Okay, his humility was power for his Father. Okay, and that's what's important. Okay, we need to make sure that we clearly understand that platform or we're going to have some major problems, man, when it comes to dealing with this truth that we're in, this truth of ours, so to speak, okay? So, all right, Shalaki on, a little bit of the long uh, commentary, but I just had to do it because it's so necessary. And again, this lesson may prove to be a little long, but I'm telling you, I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to teach you something and to bring you forward so you can understand what it is that you need to do to get protected while all of these perils and tribulation that our Father controls all sides of it is bringing forth. So just get ready for that. Okay, so we're going to start off in Proverbs. I want to start off in Proverbs, and I'm going to go to chapter 27, and I'm going to read right at the top. Start at number 1. Boast not thyself of tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day may bring forth. And the beloved brother Manat Zakba brought out this lesson about some things that were going on with another associated organization that's been out there that's quite proud in many ways and not seeing a whole lot of humility in that. But he also brought out verse 2, which was, let another man praise thee, and not thine own mouth, a stranger, and not thine own lips. Okay, a stone is heavy, and the sand weighty, but a fool's wrath is heavier than both. So we know that if a person deems themselves as so more important than the work, or so more important than anyone else, they're much lesser than they really are. We can pretty much agree with that. 4, wrath is cruel and anger is outrageous, but who is able to stand before envy? Open rebuke is better than secret love. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. So we understand that if we start treating each other and many as they are deceitful, and we say to ourselves, if they're going to be deceitful, it provides wounds of that friend, and those kisses will prove to be given to an enemy. And that's a problem, because if you can't determine who's your friend, who's your enemy, even in this truth of ours, because we come in all particular visages. All our visages are different because we've been scattered all over the world. So you got to be careful who it is you're dealing with and what way you're dealing with them, because the spirit will have to determine who's going to really be a brother or a sister, a Akim or an Akwab, okay? So let's make sure we understand that. All right, so now we're going to go, I'm going to pop over to Luke. So go with me to Luke. All right, I'm going to go to Luke chapter 14 to start out with here, and I'm going to bring in 7, and I want to do that first, but then I'm going to go to 8 and probably bring 10 and 11 in too. So just bear with me, okay? All right, Luke chapter 14 and starting at verse 7. And he put forth a parable to those which were bidden, when he marked how they chose out the chief rooms, saying unto them, when thou art bidden of any man to a wedding, sit not down in the highest room, lest a more honorable man than thou be bidden of him. Now, this is part of why I always say, be careful how you judge who you're dealing with in terms of doling out punishment or doling out the edification of what's going to happen to you in terms of the judgment that comes from Yahawashi, because you really don't have any power to perform any judgments on anyone. You can discern activities to a degree because you cite the violation, as I've always said, bring the scripture to address the violation, speak to who will perform the judgment, which will be Yahawashi, not you, and then in turn, back out gracefully, do what you said, reprove, and then move, and then go on. This is what we're talking about here. You don't have to be the one acting like you're going to dole out the punishment, because you're not, all right? The Most High will deal with that on himself. All right. 9. And he that bade thee and him come and say to thee, give this man place, and thou begin with shame to take the lowest room. See, you got to be humble. But when thou art bidden, go and sit down in the lowest room, that when he that bade thee cometh and may say unto him, the friend, go up higher, then shalt thou have worship in the presence of them that sit at meat with thee. 11. For whosoever exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. So if the Spirit is on you to perform this process, this is how it breaks down. You know, he says it really simple. For whomsoever exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. 12, I'll give you that, and then I'll pull out of this chapter here for a minute. Then said he also to him that bade him, when thou makest the dinner or supper, call not thy friends, nor thy brethren, neither thy kinsmen, nor thy rich neighbors, lest they also bid thee again, and a recompense be made thee. But when thou makest the feast, call the poor and maimed and lame and blind. So this is why we're calling out those that may be predestined to wake up, but at this point in time, they are poor, destined, and blind. They're not strong, and we need to show that humility when we deal with that aspect of it. Okay? Now I'm going to go over to Luke 18, so go with me. All right? We're going to pop over here to 18. And Luke 18, and I'm going to go with 9 and 10 on there, okay? And he spake this parable unto certain which trusted in themselves that they were righteous and despised others. 2 men went up into the temple to pray, and one a Pharisee and the other a publican. And the Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself, Power, I thank thee that I am not as other men are, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even as this publican. I fast twice a week. I give tithes of all that I possess. And the publican standing afar off would not lift up so much as his eyes unto heaven, but smote upon his breast, saying, Yahawah, be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone that exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. So we see this pattern of humility being the power over and over again coming forth. Matthew chapter 19, 13 through 15, and Mark chapter 10, 13 through 16 tells you the same principle behind this same relationship when we're talking about this. This is important for us to understand how the power of humility is what the Mashiach Yahawashi was showing through the whole time. We're going to, I think, 2 Corinthians 6. I think I want 6 and 1 through 10. Okay, yeah, all right. 2 Corinthians, and this is chapter 6, 1 through, I'm going to go 1 through 10. We then, as workers together with him, beseech you also that ye receive not the grace of Yahawah in vain. For he saith, I have heard thee in the time accepted, and in the day of salvation. I have secured thee. Behold, now is the acceptable time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. Giving no offense to anything, that the ministry be not blamed, but in all things approving ourselves as the ministers of Yahawah, in much patience, in afflictions, in necessities, and distress. See, we're going to go through perilous times and tribulation, but you have to maintain humility, right? In stripes and imprisonments, in tumults, in labors, in watchings, in fastings, by pureness, by knowledge, by long suffering, by kindness, by the Ruach HaKodesh, by love unfringed, by the word of truth, by the power of Yahawah, by the armor of righteousness on the right hand and on the left, by honor and dishonor, by evil report and good report, as deceivers and yet true, as unknown and yet well known, as dying and behold we live, as chastened and not killed, as sorrowful, yet always rejoicing, as poor, yet making many rich, as having nothing, and yet possessing all things. Okay? So we're seeing that these are the attributes and the things that we need to understand in terms of the humility and the power that is within those things that the humility brings, which is what the Mashiach showed us in detail. Okay? I want to go to Romans now. So go with me to Romans, and I'm going to start at Romans chapter 12, and I want to bring in 3. Go at 3. For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly according to Yahawash hath dealt to every man a measure of faith. Okay? Now, if you've got a measure of faith that's dealt to you, that faith can grow, okay, if you ask for it. You may not get that much more grace than what you are afforded during this time that you're here for the mission that you signed up for in the spirit world. So when you are operating within your grace, as elastic as it is, you can ask for more faith to broaden the opportunity to be successful in the grace to fulfill your mission. But that's important. But it takes humility in order for you to go to that point to ask for that faith and pray and prayer, shalaki, and praise, worship, and pray. Praise, worship, and pray for that faith. Combination, not just pray, but praise, worship, and pray. Okay, all right. I want to go to Proverbs chapter 16 from here. So join me at Proverbs, and I want chapter 16, right? And this is see, what we're trying to show you here is we're trying to show you that it's going to take the level of humility that you may not know or understand in order to get where you need to be when it comes to your walk to salvation. Proverbs chapter 16, okay, and we're going to go with 18 here, right? And it reads, pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. All right, I'm going to finish down because there's some more involved being humble. Better is it to be of an humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. Let me say that again. Better is it to be with an humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. He that handleth a matter wisely shall find good. Whoso trusteth in Yahawash, happy is he. Right? The wise in heart shall be called prudent, and the sweetness of the lips increaseth learning. Okay? So, this is how we should be presenting what the Mashiach is showing us in power. All of these are attributes of power through the Spirit that you can wield if you show humility and the Father puts upon you, and your spiritual blockage levels can be reduced or removed. Let me say it again. Once you learn how to be humble and show the Father your level of humility, your levels of spiritual blockage, and we all have them, can be reduced or removed so that you can grow and be more fruitful and do more for the Most High. Okay? Get to work on this. All right? All right. I want to go to 29 since I'm here. All right? So bear with me and go to 29. Proverbs chapter 29. 25 and 23. Proverbs 29, 25, and 23. All right. The fear of man bringeth a snare, but whoso putteth his trust in Yahweh shall be safe. Say it again. The fear of man bringeth forth a snare, but whosoever putteth his trust in Yahweh shall be safe. That means you cannot be worshiping these men. You see, some organizations show a very strong level of worship based on their presentation of what they're doing on Passover and various other functions that they're supposed to be doing in a solemn fashion. And they must fear the men more than they fear Yahweh because of what they're doing. Right? All right. 26. Many seek the ruler's favor, but every man's judgment cometh from Yahweh. An unjust man is an abomination to the just, and he that is upright in the way is abomination to the wicked. Okay, so you can see how they go at we can see men going at each other based on what they see as a presentation of truth and accuracy, and in turn they battle, and that's going off. So that's not working. Um, Let me pop over here to Romans chapter 2 because I saw something that I wanted to get. Um, all right, go back to Romans with me. And when I go to Romans, I'm going to, let's see, Romans 2 and 23 through 24, right? So let me go there. 23 through 24 Romans, and it reads, thou that makest thy boast of the law through breaking the law dishonoreth thou Yahawah. For the name of Yahawah is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you, as it is written. See, so what they're saying is, if you're not going to call upon the name, but you're going to try to act like you're operating within the functions of the truth and the presentation of various ceremonies and righteous acts and various holy days and feast days, and you're not calling upon the name and following through with accurate precision in terms of presenting the truth, you're going to be an abomination to the Most High, and he's not going to accept what it is you're doing. Okay, so that's very important. So that's why the name cannot be blasphemed. All right, I'm going to pop over to Matthew here, and I'm going to go to chapter 23. And I just, there's so much there in 23 that I could just start at the top and go forever, right? So I'll just do a little bit of it. Started one. Then spoke Yahawashi to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore whatsoever they bid you, observe and do, but do not ye after their works, for they say and do not. For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to the bone, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. But all their works they do for to be seen of men. All right? They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge their borders of their garments, and love the uppermost rooms at feast and the chief seats in the synagogues, and greetings in the markets, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi, but be not called Rabbi, for one is your master, even Hamashiach, and all ye are brethren. And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven. Neither be ye called masters, for one is your master, even Hamashiach. But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. See that? And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased. Again. Shalom. Shalaki. And he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. So you can see clearly the Most High is showing you this is the nature of power in reference to how the Hamashiach was traveling, how he was rolling. We're going to go to 1 Peter. All right, so bear with me and go to 1 Peter, and we're going to go to chapter 4, 17. All right, we're going to start moving a little faster. So I'm trying to slow down a little bit so you can catch up with the precepts and follow me through the Bible. Okay, but I got to roll because I know time is starting, and Jake won't stay around too long for teaching. He just don't have the nature right at this moment. 17. For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of Yahawashi. And if first begin at us, what shall the end of them that obey not the gospel of Yahawashi? Okay? And if the righteous scarcely be saved, then save, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? Wherefore, let them that suffer according to the will of Yahawah commit the keeping of their souls to him that in well-doing as unto as a faithful creator. So you can see this is still all in the line of power that the Mashiach is being represented and spoken of and showing you that he's operating in, which is what he was doing. So you gotta really understand that's the nature of where we need to be in terms of where we're going. Okay. All right. Now I pulled several precepts when it comes to pride on both sides, and I'm going to get through them and I'm going to roll with them. So y'all gonna have to stay with me because I'm getting ready to go with my notes on what I pulled. All right. So hang if you can. If you can't, then so be it. All right. First side of this we're going to do is we're going to go on the pride side. Then we want to deal with the humility side. We want to show the contrast and the comparison between the two in terms of how you should be walking and know how you should be operating in terms of following the Mashiach as he shows you power. Okay, and of course, this is all about him as well. All right. The first place I want to go is Proverbs. So we're going to pop over to Proverbs. So go back with me to Proverbs, and we're going to go to chapter 11 in Proverbs. All right, chapter 11, and we're going to start right at 1. All right. A false balance is an abomination to Yahawah, but a just weight is his delight. When pride cometh, then cometh shame. But with the lowly is wisdom. The integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perseverance of transgressors shall destroy them. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. The righteousness of the perfect shall direct his way, but the wicked shall fall by his own wickedness. The righteousness of the upright shall deliver them, but transgressors shall be taken in their own naughtiness. When a wicked man dieth, his expectation shall perish, and the hope of unjust men perish. The righteous is delivered out of trouble, and the wicked cometh in his stead. Right? 9. A hypocrite with his mouth destroyeth his neighbor, but through knowledge shall the just be delivered. When it goeth well with the righteous, the city rejoices, and when the wicked perish, there is shouting. 11. By the blessing of the upright, the city is exalted, but it is overthrown by the mouth of the wicked. 12. He that is void of wisdom despiseth his neighbor, but a man of understanding holdeth his peace. 13. A talebearer revealeth secrets, but he that is of the faith spirit concealeth the matter. 14. Where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety. All right? So I wanted to get those because all of those are power in reference to dealing with the pride that people present forward. And they've shown you the contrast of if you operate in this manner, your prideful processes move forward. And you see a lot of this in our presentation of the truth. And it needs to start gravitating over to the humility side completely because that's how you get power. You don't get power through the pride. Okay? All right, now we're going to go to Proverbs 16. So go up to 16. And I'm giving you time to get there. All right? And Proverbs 16, and I want 18 and 19. All right? So Proverbs 16, 18, and 19. Pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall. Better it is to be of an humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. Okay? All right, now we're going to go stay in Proverbs and go up here to 21 with me. All right? Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 24. And it reads, Proud and haughty scorner is his name, who dealeth in proud wrath. All right? All right, I'm going to hit 25 too, right? I'm going to go 28, Proverbs 28, okay? And we're going to go to 25. 28, 25, Proverbs 28, 25. And it reads, He that is of a proud heart stirreth up strife, but he that putteth his trust in Yahawashi shall be made fat. Fat in terms of well taken care of, well preserved, and well learned in terms of things, okay? That was Proverbs 28, 25. Now we're going to go to James, We're going to go to New Testament. Go to the book of James with me. All right. So we're going to go to James, and we're going to go to James chapter 4 and verse 6. Okay. And it reads, But he giveth more grace, wherefore he saith, Yahweh resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. Let me read that one again. See, this is where you see power from the Mashiach Yahawashi through the Most High. And he says, but he giveth more grace. See? Wherefore he saith, Yahweh resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. Okay, so you see Most High is definitely doing what he says, and he follows through with what he says he's going to do. Now we're going to go to the book of Job. Go to the book of Job with me, and we're going to read chapter 26 and 12. All right, 26 and 12. And it reads, He divideth the sea with his power, and by his understanding he submitteth all through the proud. 12. He divideth the sea with his power, and by his understanding he submitteth through the proud. So he's telling you right there, he's showing you how the power works through Yahawashi. All right, let's go now to Job. Stay in Job. We're going to go to chapter 40. And on chapter 40, we're going to read 11 and 12. So go with me there. And it reads, Cast abroad the rage of thy wrath, and behold, everyone that is proud and abase him. 12. Look on everyone that is proud, and bring him low, and tread down the wicked in their place. Right? So you can see now, the Most High is showing you clearly where Hamashiach is going to be handling proud people. It doesn't matter what your position is, you're going to be dealt with. All right, next we're going to go to Psalms. Follow me to Psalms chapter, we're going to start with chapter 31 and 23. Psalms chapter 31, and we're going to go to verse 23. And it reads, O love Yahawah, all ye his saints, for Yahawah preserveth the faithful, and plentifully reward the proud doer. Read it again. 23. O love the Lord Yahawah, all ye his saints, for the Lord Yahawah preserveth the faithful, and plentifully rewardeth the proud doer. Okay, that was 31:23. Right. So now we're going to pop straight over to 40 while we're still in Psalms. We're going to do Psalms for a minute, so stick with me. All right, Psalms chapter 40, and it reads, Psalm 40 verse 4. Blessed is that man that maketh Yahawah his trust, and respecteth not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies. Read it again. Proverbs chapter 40, verse 4. Blessed is that man that maketh the Lord Yahawah his trust, and respecteth not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies. All right? That was 40. All right, now we're going to go to 94. In Psalms, so go with me to 94. All right, Psalms 94, and we're going to read verse 2. Lift up thyself, thou judge of the earth, render a reward to the proud. Lift up thyself, thou judge of the earth, and render a reward to the proud. That's Yahawashi doing that. Okay. From here, we're going to go to Psalms 101. I told you we're going to do a little bit in Psalms right here to finish out the pride side of this, okay? Okay, Psalms 101, and we're going to go with verse 5. And it reads, Whoso privately slandereth his neighbor, him will I cut off. Him that hath an high look and a proud heart will not I suffer. So the Most High is not going to suffer you if you're going to go with that type of activity. 119. We're going to Psalms 119. So stay with me going up to Psalms 119. And we're going to read 21. All right, Psalms 119. Give me a minute to get there. And verse 21. Thou hast rebuked the proud that are cursed, which do err from my commandments. Let's read that one again. That's fire. Okay, Psalms 119:21. thou hast rebuked the proud that are cursed, which do err from thy commandments. All right? So you can see the Most High is on being prideful. That's a good way for you to really get some major judgment come upon you. And make sure you understand that, right? All right. I got a little something I took down in my notes that I wanted to read before I go into the humility side of it. But I think it's important for me to read it because it does give a little bit deeper definition. All right. I'm getting ready to go into humility. I finished the pride side because this is the focus is really more on humility because that's where the power comes from. Yahawashi, essentially, humility is what? What is humility? The virtue that restrains the movement of the mind towards some excellence. All right, that's the first part of the paragraph I got, right? Essentially, humility is the virtue that restrains the movement of the mind towards some excellence, particularly restraining the mind from thinking one is greater than one, truly is before Yahawashi Shem Yahawashi. Let me read that last part again. Particularly restraining the mind from thinking one is greater than one, truly is before Yahawashi Shem Yahawashi. Okay? Now, humility. What does it do? Humility opens the door to truth. This is where we needed to go. Humility opens the door to truth. Let me read what I have. To seek Yahweh and his truth, we must become humble. Without humility, Yahweh will not open the door and our seeking will be fruitless. We are warned that when we are proud, vain, or seek riches, our Heavenly Father is displeased with us. We are foolish in his eyes. All right? So I wanted to give you a little bit of that definition before I get into my precepts on humility, because I just wanted to make sure I got that portion out so I can finish out the lesson here. Because what's important is we have to have the humble spirit, and we have to move more towards that so that we could be like the Mashiach. We're supposed to mimic what he's doing and be operating in his way. He used humility and power all over. All his miracles were humility and power. And this is what we're supposed to be doing. And if you're not doing that, you're wrong. Okay, let's get into some humility precepts here. All right, we're going to start off in Luke. So let's go to Luke chapter 23. Manok brought out a couple of these, and I really like what he brought out at the time. It was hot. He did a good job of it. Luke, and we're going to read chapter 23 first. No, let's do 22, and then we'll get 23. Yeah, Luke chapter 22, and we want 21 and 30. Okay, and it reads Luke 22, verse 21 to 30. Right. But behold, the hand of him that betrayeth me is with me on the table. Talking about Judas, right? And truly, the Son of Man goeth as it was determined. But woe unto the man by whom he is betrayed. And they began to inquire among themselves, which of them it was that should do this thing. And there was also a strife among them, which of them should be accounted the greatest. See, where's the humility coming in at, right? And he said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and they exercise authority upon them, are called benefactors, right? But ye shall not be so. But he that is greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he that is chief as that doeth serve. So the Most High is clearly telling you, the Mashiach's telling you here, because this is red letter, he's telling you, he didn't come here to do that. He came here to show you humility and power. And this is what he's saying, okay? All right, 28. Ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations. 29. And I appoint unto you a kingdom as my Father hath appointed unto me, that ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. This is only to the elect. This is only to Israel. It's not to any religious practitioners or anyone else. We got to remember that. Precepts cross over Matthew chapter 26, 31 through 35, Mark chapter 14 and 27 and 31, and of course John chapter 13, 36 through 38. Crossover right to that aspect in terms of what I needed to bring out for that part of the precept for you. Okay? Okay, now what I was going to go down to third. I did that. Okay, now let's go to 23. We're going to go to 23. Luke chapter 23 and verse 11, as well as I think I'll go to 21. All right, so Luke chapter 23, starting at 11, and we're going to go to 21. And Herod with his men of war set him at naught, and mocked him, and arrayed him in a gorgeous robe, and sent him again to Pilate. And the same day Pilate and Herod were made friends together, for before they were at enmity between themselves. And of course, that supports also Matthew 27, 15 through 26, and of course, Mark chapter 15, 6 through 15, and John chapter 18, 38, chapter 8, Mark chapter 18, 38, and 19, chapter 16. So we want to make sure you put those down as precepts to back up and read this, right? Okay. And Pilate, this is 13, and Pilate, when he had called together the chief priests and the rulers and the people, these are Israelites. These are what your prideful, not humble Israelites, when he's trying to show them power and humility, right? It's what Mashiach was doing, okay? Said unto them, ye have brought this man unto me as one that perverteth the people, and behold, I have examined him before you, have found no fault in this man touching those things whereof ye accuse him. No, nor yet Herod, for I sent you to him, and lo, nothing worthy of death is done unto him. Okay, but these wicked jakes are still trying, and they're going to do it. I will therefore chastise him and release him, for of necessity he must release one unto them at the feast. And they cried out all at once, saying, away with this man, and release unto us Barabbas. See, this is what I'm saying. He showed power and humility through dealing with that by not saying a thing. And of course, you go more into him being scourged and not opening his mouth as a lamb being slain to the slaughter. We know where this is going with these devils, right? We know exactly where this is going. Okay, so that was there. Now I'm going to go to 1 Peter. So go with me to 1 Peter. And I'm going to read chapter 5, precept 6, which is, humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of Yahawash, that he may exalt you in due time. Humble yourself, okay? All right, now I'm going to that was 1 Peter 5, 6. Now I'm going to go to Hebrews. I'm going to go to Hebrews chapter 4. So go with me to Hebrews, and I'm going to chapter 4. Hebrews chapter 4. And I'm going to read 15, but I'm going to take 5. I'm going to go to chapter 5 too for a precept. But I'm going to Hebrews chapter 4, verse 15. And it reads, for we have not a high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. Okay? And then I'm going to go to 5 and 7. And it reads, who in the days of his flesh, when he had offered up prayers and supplication with strong crying tears unto him that was able to save him from death, and was heard in that he feared. See, that's all that praise and worship that Yahawashi was doing to the Father. Even he does it. So what is our problem? Okay? No, please. Are you serious? Really? Okay. Matthew. Go to Matthew chapter 3. And we're going to read 13 through 15. Matthew chapter 3, 13 through 15, and it reads, then cometh Yahawashi from Galilee to Jordan unto John to be baptized of him. But John forbid him, saying, I have need to be baptized of thee, and comest thou to me? Question. And Yahawashi answered, said unto him, suffer it to be now, for thus it becometh us to fulfill all righteousness. See, humble power. Okay, then he suffered him. All right, you see what I'm saying? That's power, man. Are you kidding me? That is power. All right. All right, and then here's the power that came down. Read 16. And Yahawashi, when he was baptized, went up straightway out of the water, and lo, the heavens were opened unto him, and he saw the Spirit, Ruach HaKodesh, of Yahweh descending like a dove and lighting upon him. And a voice from heaven, which was the Father, saying, this is my beloved Son, whom I am well pleased. If the Most High is well pleased with you, you have to be humble and you get power through praise, worship, and prayer. That's how it works. Like Yahawashi was doing. It says he was praising and worshiping the Father. You read it, you saw it, okay? It was right there. All right, so therefore, you know he's giving you the answer to how this works. All right, that was Matthew, Shalaki. All right, now we're going to go to Matthew chapter 20 while we're here. Okay, so let's go to Matthew. We're going to wrap it up. Chapter 20. I know y'all Jake's probably all jacked up right now, can't hang, but who cares? You just stay with me. All right, chapter 20, and we're going to hit 28 as our precept. Even as the Son of Man come not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life as a ransom for many. Okay? And of course, that precept is supported by Mark 10:46 and 52 and Luke 18:35 and 43. Just for your reference, okay? All right, and now we're going to go to John, go to the book of John, all right? Now, when we go to John, what we're going to read, we're going to read chapter 5, and we're going to pull 41, okay? And then, of course, I'm going to go through John a little bit here because I got some more precepts for that. John chapter 5 and 41, and it reads, I receive not honor from men, all right? Most High, Yahawashi is telling you, don't receive honor from men. Why? Why did he say that? What? Okay, let's... I know you probably said, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Okay, but it is. All right, I'm going to go up a little bit to read you the precept above and before so you can understand. Search the scriptures, for in them ye think ye have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And ye will not come to me that ye might have life. I receive not honor from men. See, we tell you, but I know you that ye have not the love of Yahweh in you. I am come in my Father's name, and ye receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him ye will receive. How can ye believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that cometh from Yahweh only? That's why I read that, so you can get the rest of that and understand what's going on. So stop freaking people out and trying to give people praise and honor when you know you're supposed to give it all to the Most High through Yahawashi. Okay? So stop doing that. I'm sorry. I get beside myself a little bit. All right. We're going to 6 now. All right. John chapter 6 and I want 15. All right. John chapter 6, verse 15. When Yahawashi therefore perceived that they would come and take him by force to make him a king, he departed again into the mountains himself alone. See, humility. You can't make him a king. He is already a king, and he's still humble, and he did that to show you. 6 and 38, while I'm writing 6. Let's go down to 38. And it reads, for I came down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of him that sent me. And this is the Father's will which hath sent me, that of all which I have given me, I should lose nothing, but should raise it up again at the last day. And this is the will of him that sent me, that everyone which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last day. And then it says, just for you religious practitioners and wacky tackies, it says, the Jews then murmured at him because he said, I am the bread which came down from heaven. See, he wasn't talking to nobody else. He was talking to Israelites, the tribe of Judah and those, was he calling multiple of them Jews. But, we know that they mean Israelites, okay? All right, just so you know, all right? John chapter 10. Pop over to John chapter 10. We're getting ready to wrap this up, all right? I know y'all antsy, and we're going to have a couple of precepts that's really good at the end. John chapter 10 and verse 15. And it reads, As the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. All right? And I'll go to the bottom one, just so you get the next one. And the other sheep I have, which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and they shall be one fold and one shepherd. Now, every time the wacky-tackies hear that, they say, oh, no, sheep that are not of his fold. That includes all the Gentiles. No, it doesn't. It's talking about those that were scattered and that became Gentiles and looked upon as Gentiles because they were scattered around and took on the likeness and all the different activities of those in those particular nations they were scattered to. But they were Israelites. They weren't. He ain't. Look, Psalm chapter 149, 47, 19. He showed his word to Jacob, his statutes and his judgments to Israel. He has not dealt so with any other nation. All right. So don't stay away from that. Don't go there. All right. Now we're going to finish up with these two precepts. We're going to go to Philippians, and we want 2, and we're going to read 8. Philippians 2 and 8. And it reads, And being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross. Wherefore Yahawah also hath highly exalted him and given him a name which is above every name. Right? That at the name of Yahawashi, every knee should bow, of things in heaven and things in earth and things under the earth. And that every tongue should confess that Yahawashi Hamashiach is Lord, to the glory of Yahawah the Father. Right? Wherefore, my brethren, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. For it is Yahawah which worketh in you both to will and to do his good pleasure. Okay? Do all things without murmurings and disputing. Hello? Wake up, elect. Do the work. And leave the bug outs alone. They're supposed to be bugged out. That's what they were made for. Let's keep it moving. 15, that ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of Yahawah without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world. Are you shining or are you dull? Which is it? Are you running the same thing, or are you moving in the new spirit of the things that the Most High is bringing through the raw Dish, through the Mashiach, because there's so much more to be dealing with. All right? Holding forth the word of life, that I may rejoice in the day of Hamashiach, that I have not run in vain, neither labored in vain. Yea, and if I be offered upon the sacrifice and service of your faith, I joy and rejoice with you all. For the same cause also do ye joy and rejoice with me. But I trust in Yahawah, I trust in Hamashiach, Yahawashi, to send Timotheus shortly unto you, that I also may be of good comfort when I know your state. Okay? For I have no man like-minded who will naturally care for your state. For all seek their own, not the things which are of Hamashiach, Yahawashi Hamashiach. But ye know the proof of him, that as a son with a father, he hath served with me in the gospel. See, Paul is bringing it out. He's crushing you with this, with so much humility and faith. I'll leave it there. Let's go to Hebrews and we'll wrap it up here. Hebrews And we're going to go to chapter 12. I love the faith chapter. All right, and we're going to read number 2. Looking unto Yahawashi, the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of Yahweh, as you can see. Hey, humility is the power, as the lesson says. All right? Humility is the power that Yahawashi used to fulfill the mission of Yahweh. That's what Yahawashi did. Call Allah Yahweh by Hashem Yahawashi, by Hashem Kakadash, and Shalom.
Baba Kashab, Shalom. Call hello, Yahweh, Vahashim, Yahawashai, Vahashim, Rekakodash, Thuwada, Yahweh, Thuwada, Yahweh, Vahashim, Yahawashai, Baba Kasha, Yahweh, Washim, Yahweh, Shalaki, Yahweh, for my sins as I cry. All praises to Yahweh, all the glory and all the honor. Baba Kasha, Yahweh, for Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai.